Last time on Eurovision Song Contest, Sweden antagonizes Portugal, Australia's presence in Eurovision gets questioned again, and Luxembourg announces a return? Find out on this edition of Eurovision Song Contest.
Hello, this is J.E. Realize. Thank you for flying with us today.
I'm back at talking about Eurovision Song Contest, one of my special interests. Yeah, the whole being autistic thing, apparently I have to bring that up now that I'm more invested in it. But, yeah, for the past 2 years I've been talking about each episode of Eurovision and American Song Contest, which has yet to see a return still after all this time, but no matter. We have Eurovision 2024, and I can distract myself from living in the Central Valley of California with some good old-fashioned music is what I want. Music is what I need. To find out how we got here, we need to take a look at Eurovision 2023. Last time it was hosted in Liverpool because Ukraine was unavailable to take the call, all that sort of stuff. And all this was happening while the United Kingdom was having a coronation for King Charles III. Can you believe that the Commonwealth finally has someone who isn't Queen Elizabeth II? And that person, oh my goodness sake. And that person may not even be around for long? But yeah, the contest came and went, and while it was a fun time, I ultimately felt that the entrants were a bit on the weak side. I mean, look at Norway's entry for last year. It was pretty solid, it was pretty Eurovision, but at the same time, I felt it was more of a going through the motions kind of song. Playing it safe, yes it was full package, yes it knew what it was, but it wasn't particularly imaginative or breakout or anything like that. And a lot of the entries through 2023 felt kind of, you know, missing something. Yes, we did have some great, awesome songs, but a lot of the songs were ultimately still kind of meh. Now, you might be wondering whether this is because I really only watch Eurovision these days, or if, you know, I was only exposed to it for a little bit of time. But no, this has been a year. I've listened to the songs quite a bit of times, and while there are quite a few good solid hits I like, it's just I'm thinking back and going, the contest could have been better. Anyway, Finland won is what I would say were it not for the fact that Sweden won. Sorry to get your hopes up. Sweden won, upsetting the entire Eurovision community. And it's off to Stockholm to finally enjoy the Friends Arena, this big arena that could pack a lot of people, except no, because Netta ruins everything in record time. Basically, she posted on social media after Sweden's win, like while she was in the arena, that the next contest is going to be held in Stockholm. Congratulations! Now the contest is not going to be held in Stockholm. And what is with Eurovision's insistence on performing these small arenas? Like, even the Save Mart Center could hold more people than these arenas. And it was designed for basketball! Why can't they hold it in a Friends arena? Why can't they hold it in an arena that can hold tens of thousands rather than just 10,000? And you might be saying, probably because it's really hard to watch a contest when you're set up in a venue like that. Everything is just so spread out, and the arena is so far away, and if you have floor seats, it's really hard to see. Which, yeah, I can see your argument, but one, you have television displays, but you might say, oh, that defeats the purpose of the entire thing. And two, I would also say that it really gives you that party atmosphere to have a big arena with lots of people excited. But to that, you might say, well, that's what the Eurovision Village is for. You can tailor your own experience. You can enjoy it outside. You can enjoy it in a pub. You can enjoy it in a rave club. All this sort of stuff, which I would not disagree with you there. You can and should enjoy it however you want. But ultimately, the majority of people watching Eurovision are doing so from a television set. And you want to send the energy of Eurovision factory direct to them. And the best way to do that is to get yourself a big yet reasonably manageable arena with lots of fans to cheer them on. You get all that energy and you send it to people, so you show that Eurovision is truly a big deal. That's my big argument for that, and I would not disagree with you on your arguments that hard, but this is what I believe would really help Eurovision. But no, we have to go to Malmö, the Scandinavian capital of Sweden. And ironically, by picking Malmö, they went as far away from Finland as they could afford to do so. How petty, Sweden! How petty! But yeah, that's a whole thing. The contest was selected for Malmö, and we were all ready to go with all this work. You know, Swedes know how to clean up really well. But I didn't get spoiled this time. I left the American Song Contest community sometime around February to keep myself distant, and I haven't heard any news from anyone about what is happening in Eurovision until I got this last Monday, the day before the first semifinal. This is a story in and of itself. Back in 2023, I ordered the Liverpool album, and yeah, that was not fun to say the least. I ordered it off of an Amazon UK reseller because I thought that was probably my best chance to get it sent in a reasonable time frame. Yes, I know. Amazon, yada yada, etc. What you gotta understand is I don't have all that much to spare. But you might be saying, oh, so you are unemployed, and yet you still have enough money for peroxide. That's a reference, by the way. Yeah, I should invest in myself a little bit to keep myself sane. Especially in a world where people automatically treat you with suspicion. Oh, I gotta control myself. That's the autism coming out. But yeah, I ordered it from Amazon UK along with some other stuff, and it did not arrive. Yeah, it got lost in the mail somewhere, either in the UK or over the Atlantic. I don't know. This was the first time this has happened to me. I know this has happened to plenty of people, but this is the first time that this has happened to me. And yeah, sorting that out was not fun. I had to call the Amazon UK number. I had to get that sorted. We tried reordering everything and reshipping it in, and that didn't quite work. So instead, I received store credit. Amazon UK store credit. Not even Amazon US store credit. It honestly pains me because shipping anything from the UK is gonna be a hassle, and it's gonna cost a pretty pence. No, pence is plural. What am I doing? Well, I can't say pretty penny because we already popularly say it in the United States, and say instead of saying pretty cent, we say pretty penny. How does that work? But yeah, that means I would eventually have to go back to Amazon UK to purchase something else, which I'm dreading. Ultimately, I reordered the disc off of Eurovision.tv, but by that point, the contest had already ended. But yeah, I finally received the album, backed up the contents for archiving and personal consumption purposes. Unless the Supreme Court says otherwise. And that was that. I got new music to listen to. Because believe it or not, listening to your music across, how much is it? 28 CDs is kind of cumbersome, unless you have a mechanism. But for 2024, I shifted my approach. I found that someone from Amazon US was selling them, and selling them on release dates. So I got it, and at a reasonable price, considering, you know, all that sort of stuff. But back to that album, which I'm about to hold for the third time in this video. Since it arrived the day before the first semifinal, I added this new rule. If the CD arrives before I watch the contest, then I will take the effort to listen to all 37 songs in a random order with no context on who these artists are and where they come from. And yeah, I did. I had quite a few experiences to say on that, some of which will be reflected in my show notes. Why did I say show notes? But yeah, let's move on to Eurovision held in Malmö. There was a bit of an opening package, and then you had some performers start us off. You had Eleni Forera, Erik Sade, you had Canal, you know, real nice bops and that sort of stuff. But I want to highlight the stage. I mean, I know Sweden has a tendency to streamline things for cost effectiveness, but dang, it looks generic. Like, the background was just a simple LED wall. Nothing particularly that special. No rotating bits. You know, they're doing it old-fashioned. And then you have a stage that is effectively a cross. Not a Swedish cross either. More like a Swiss cross. The one big thing that made this stage stand out is they have these see-through light-up cubes suspended from the ceiling that you can bring down to surround a performer with special effects. Which is not the worst idea I've ever seen. Just the handling is a bit cumbersome based on how the stage is designed. If you want to have like a super special background behind you, then you're gonna have to crowd everyone in that limited space in the front. If you want to have everyone performing within these cubes, you'd have to space them out, but unfortunately you can't use all the cubes because if you do that, some of them will be obscured. Yeah, it's rather hard. I mean, I guess you could like set 4 of the cubes surrounding the performers who are in the center of the stage and have a camera follow them, which is a tried and true tactic that ultimately makes it hard for the fans to appreciate the art if they're in the arena. Yeah, there's no winning with this stage. I can't say much more about it other than you kind of disappointed me here. Heck, even the 2016 stage looked like it's got some edge, some uniqueness, some Swedish charm. But this one looks rather run-of-the-mill. And speaking of run-of-the-mill, the theme of the contest is still the same as the theme of the last contest, United by Music. Also, the design motifs used across with the gradient strips, also rather generic. I know it's Sweden, but come on, try! You just tied for most Eurovision wins! Have a little bit of extra oomph! But anyway, we got 2 hosts, Petra Mede and not Monzamalo. That's... maybe he'll come around later on in the show, but for now, not there. There are quite a few gems with having Petra in there. Well, I'm going to say quite a few of these as we go on, but one she said at the beginning of the show was, I've done it alone, I've done it with a man, and now I'm about to do it with a woman. A lot of people mistake artists to be all pure, all arrow ace, all innocent, all that sort of stuff. But, yeah, I got that one. Petra is a class act. Remember that as we go through the show. On to the postcards, and the postcards are rather interesting. They're based off the same thing that they've been doing for the past decade, which is highlight the performers who are in the contest. This time about their daily lives through multiple screens before we close in on that one screen for that final shot before we get that big picture of the artist with their name in gradient. And then we move on from there to the credits for the song and the tune before each song plays. You know, there is a tune for a lot of these pre-song performances through Eurovision recently. It's a thing. What did Sweden do? They took the beginning chirps of the winning song from last year and effectively copy-pasted it. I honestly thought that was hilarious. Like, that bit of continuity. And I don't know if they'll figure out how to make that a trend going forward, but that one bit, I will say, straight up, it's not the worst idea that you have done, Sweden. Not by a long shot, given all the other ideas you had for this contest. Like, for example, we're gonna skip the automatic qualifiers. Now, you might be saying, you do this every year, J.E. realized. But this time, the automatic qualifiers are performing in the semifinals between all the other acts. They're doing this because, you know, give them more exposure and hopefully people will catch on. Or, I don't know, this could be setting up for them to finally be pushed into the deep end and have to compete through the semifinals for their lives. And at this point, I wouldn't hate it. But as is tradition, I'll be holding off on talking about those performances until the grand final. This show's already going to be as long as it is. But now let's move on to Cyprus with Celia Kapsis and her song Liar. And, you know, this is not a bad song to start up with. You know, pretty solid pop number and that sort of thing. You know, Cyprus is getting pretty good at this. Although there are a few things I have to notice. First off, yeah, your song is called Liar. Of course, you're going to rhyme it with fire, with higher, all that sort of stuff. Also, she seems to gloat a lot about her former lover lying. Liar, liar, you lied. Like she's a kid, like she's 9, excuse me? And also, finally, before I close this off, this is still a pretty good song, a solid song. The problem is, we're gonna be rather dance music heavy, whether it's EDM or discotheque or something else in this contest, having listened to, for the 4th time, all the songs in this album. I haven't looked to the backside. I have expressly avoided such. But, yeah, it's a pretty solid song, but sadly kind of standard. We'll have to see how it does. Next up we have Serbia with Teodora. Wait, I thought Dora was Croatian, not Serbian. I thought Serbia had Beovicia. You know what? I'm not even gonna hang up on that minutia. With the song Ramonda. And, you know, not bad for a palate cleanser ballad. Rather soothing. And it kind of reminds me of Stay from last year. But one, I think it's a little too aggressive of a palate cleanser to put as the 2nd song in the running order. And 2, it's not alone in this fight. There's going to be quite a few ethnic songs like this in the contest. But I can appreciate it. It's real solid, does right by me. Third up is from Lithuania. We have Sylvester Belt and the song Look Down. It's very bold for someone to send in when everyone else is telling you to not look down, that you tell them, yes, look oh. No, it's Lithuanian. It's look delk. My bad. This song is also pretty solid. Real nice discotheque beat coming from the 90s or early 2000s. This could have been my childhood. Imagine me taking that bootleg CD, putting it in the stereo, and listening to that. I can totally see myself doing that. It's real nice, and kind of has a reminiscence with On Fire. You remember that song that was supposed to compete in 2020? It kind of has that feel, which is why I don't think it's gonna win. Next up, okay, for Ireland, we have Bambi Thug and the song Doomsday Blue. And the way it looks at first gives me Aoife Valkyrie / Karrion Kross vibes. And I do mean /fic. Thinking, okay. But then I, and everyone else, apparently considering the break that came after this song got corrected. Nope, the performer's trans NB and uses they, them pronouns. Relax, I have more to say than just that. I mean, if you said you watched a performance of a trans NB witch, people will probably be concerned about the latter part of that description. But hey, you're Christian, you don't have to worry about that. It's said in the Bible that only God can make miracles, right? Surely you wouldn't consider a witch hunt in the 21st century over something that the Holy Book technically describes as harmless. Right? But yeah, it's kind of funny that El Diablo led to Full led to this. This song has the bipolar disorder of a Billie Eilish song, and the dress sense too. But that being said, it is bold, it is in your face, and it makes sure you remember it for all of it. Like, goodness sake, my dad would hate it. If he found out about this video, he would crucify me, and that's probably not gonna be just facetious of me to say. Like, he would build a cross, he's very handy, and he would nail me to it. But yeah, Iceland tried this entire thing in 2019, and it's really refreshing to see that Ireland is back in the game! Really! This is the best shot of qualifying since 2022, which they only missed out on because the teleprompter malfunctioned on them. And then before that, their best chance of qualifying was 2012, I guess? Wait, I almost forgot about Ireland. I did predict this. I did make a video back in March 2022 that predicted we would have a non-binary performer in Eurovision by 2030. And I'm technically right, if you don't count Roxanne. We'll have to see if the witch gets crowned, but for now, let's finally move on to the United Kingdom. Except, no. I already stated I won't cover automatic qualifiers today. The video's long enough as it is. Have you seen it? But on to Ukraine, being represented by Aliona, and Jerry Heil, and the song Teresa and Maria. And of course Ukraine would send this. Like, I listened to the song, I'm picking it for the 5th time. I listened to the song nondescript and I figured, that's Ukraine. That's obviously Ukraine. And let's face it, if this song NQs, Trump wins. The song itself is rather solid. A nice breather, it's real cohesive, it makes you comfortable, and that last bit at the end, that has to be the best attempt that someone faked having more than 6 people on stage. Like, by mile, mannequins were not going to work. Switzerland 2007, Romania 2018. Ukraine tried LED stuff in 2012, but they didn't quite get there. But this one's close. But yeah, the question is if people are still in love with Ukraine, and that's going to honestly be tough. I was being a little much with what I said earlier, but we'll have to see if people are willing enough to appreciate the song enough to advance it. And next up, we have Poland with Luna and the song Tower. And I have to say, Poland, I am disappointed. Like, I know you are capable of very good things. People would not stop clamoring over your last entry because it's beat a really good contender for winning the contest. But this song, when I first heard it, I expected it to be from Malta, or Denmark, or even Iceland. But coming from Poland is kind of sad, honestly. Like, at least I'll give them credit. They didn't blow the SFX budget. And they also recycled the outfit from 2006. But I can't say I'm very invested in this one. Just, it's a nice pop song, but ultimately, I think it's cursed. Like, twice I tried listening to it, and twice I got interrupted. I didn't get interrupted with any of the other songs. The universe is telling me that this will get last place in the semis. So, Pontius Pilate. I'm washing my hands of this. But now we move on to Croatia with Rimtim Tagadim by Baby Lasagna. And oh boy, was this song a trip. Let's first begin with this thing. Baby Lasagna and your first line, I'm a big boy now? Were you in a pull-ups commercial, my friend? Also that outfit. I honestly, style points for the outfit. It's so zany and out there, and yet it fits. And this entire song I am really enjoying. As you may know, I have Mexican parents, so I grew up with some appreciation of Mexican culture. And I remember there are quite a lot of songs in a Mexican discoteca that would play songs like this, you know, the dance corridos, like what you get from Exterminador and that sort of stuff. This kind of had that feel. It's not the same. It's not the same, but it is absurdly close. And I love its energy. I love its mania. Heck, even its message. Like, I get it. Like, you know, living in the country and finding out about the city and exploring it a bit and realizing I kind of want more of this. Yeah, the message is kind of trying to be progressive and that sort of stuff, and that can put a lot of people off. But at the same time, man, this is a bop. I want this song to qualify. I want this maybe to make it to the top 10 because there's so much behind it. In fact, I was kind of surprised this song was from Croatia. I kind of figured it would be a Moldova kind of song, but good job, Croatia, I guess. Okay, now we advance to Iceland, who is represented by Hera Björk. The Queen of Iceland is back with the meh song. Like, my goodness sake, the song is just so boring. It's, you know, all the standard pop beats, and it's just kind of a letdown as a result. Like, it's not a bad song, it's just overly generic. It's, I've heard this before, like, you're not trying anything new or innovative, except for having a Shimizu megacity pyramid as your background for some reason. But really, this is what you're gonna saddle the Queen of Iceland with? Useless. Nul point. Oh, I forgot to mention, if it ever matters any, that the song is called Scared of Heights. But really, this song is at sea level. Now we're gonna skip Germany and move on to Slovenia, represented by Raiven! I remember seeing her in the national finals once. I don't know who won that year, honestly. If it's Omar Nauber, I'm gonna be ticked. But honestly, I felt, yeah, maybe one day she'll break through the EMAs and make it to Eurovision. And she has! With the song Veronica. And I love the atmosphere behind this. The song is pretty solid, but like the atmosphere, the performance really sells it. Like, this is a full package song. Like, you need it all to be together, to be really truly stand out. And dang, like, truly, the power is here. Like, I'm down for it. Slovenia versus Ireland. That's gonna be quite the fight. They're going to give it all they got. And so will Raiven. That was a tasteless NB joke. But yeah, Veronica, I'm hyped for it. Admittedly better than the CD version by a little bit. But now we move on to Windows 95 Man from Finland. Well, that's an inspired choice, calling yourself Windows 95 Man. Microsoft Bimbos. Anyway, the song is called No Rules. And oh boy, we start off with a streaker. Like, Ivan from 2016, you remember him? He wanted to perform with the Wolves wearing nothing, except he couldn't. Well, this guy kinda sorta got away with it. Eventually they put jean shorts on the guy. But all these scenes where he's just appropriately covered up by whatever is in front of the camera in that spot reminds me of that one early One Punch Man episode. I haven't seen a lot of One Punch Man. I've only seen like 2 or 3 episodes, but I've seen that. At least. But that being said, I'm kind of disappointed in Finland. Like, they came out with a slugger with Cha Cha Cha, but then they give us this. The message is way too cliche for Eurovision, and they milk the shock value, admittedly, too hard. I am not going to forget them, though. They do have that point in their favor, and it's not like it's terrible that they're stuck in my head because they're awful, but they are, admittedly, doing the job, taking your attention, making you think about them, which is admirable. Good points. for that at least. Everything else, as I said. Next up, we move on to Moldova. And we have Natalia Barbu. Wait. Why do I remember that name? Let me see. Oh! She represented Moldova in 2007. Consarne Moldova! Can't you send anyone new? You've been doing this since 2019. Sending in stuff we've already seen. Last year you sent in the Lautar guy. The year before that, you sent in Zdobshi Stub. The year before that, you sent in Natalia Gordienko. And 2 years before that, you sent in the Ukrainian sand artist. Like, she's not even from Moldova! But, yeah, we have the song in the middle. And admittedly, it's a rather nice palate cleanser ethnic song. Though, I don't think it's the strongest one of its kind in the semifinal. But, earnest attempt, all the same. I mean, if they sent in Rintin Takadim, they would probably do a better job. Now we're going to skip Sweden and move on to Azerbaijan, who sent in Uzun Lapar. I think that's how you pronounce it. By Fari, featuring Ilkin Dovlatov, or something like that. I'm not going to worry myself over pronunciations. I'm just going to call this song Denizen. And I will finally give some credit to Azerbaijan for sending in something more ethnic feeling, and again, it's pretty solid except for the fact that it's kind of competing against a few other songs kind of like this. It is soothing, but ultimately that can only get it so far when you're going up against others that are kind of like you. But still, honestly, Azerbaijan, good job on stepping out of your comfort zone. I will be surprised if a Swede somehow had a hand in writing this song, though. Next up, we go to Australia, and we have Electric Fields. I know a lot of Eurovision fans were excited to see Electric Fields, and they're sending in a song called One Milkali. And you know what? I'd love to say I'm not in love with this song. And for a while it wasn't, but I'm kind of warming up to it. Like, it's not that great a Pacifica R&B song. But I don't hate it. I think it's just fine. It's a little corny. Also, the lyrics really, I think they're absurdist for the reason of being absurdist lyrics. I may be dreaming, but the atoms are awake. Spill the tea on reality and the open 618. What does any of that even mean? But besides all that, the CD version, I think it's going to be fine if I leave it on. The performance itself leaves a bit to be desired. It's not like Tanel won American Song Contest. She did make it to the final through pushing herself hard for fan support. But, yeah, let's move on. Or let's not, because we're in Sweden, right? That means Portugal's not coming, because, you know, they don't attend Eurovision Song Contests held by Sweden anymore, so they probably bowed out, and we could just get on with our oh. Nope, they're here, and they're sending in Yolanda with the song Grito, which means shout or cry. Like, I give you those two words specifically because it's kind of a mix of the two. Language is complicated, kids. It's another one of those ethnic ballad songs, and it's nice, but, you know, the performance is not particularly innovative or anything like that. It's just there. You know, it's kind of sweet as someone who knows Spanish, but again, it's gonna be a struggle for this kind of song to qualify. And with that, we're done for the semifinal. Because, let's face it, Luxembourg was probably egging us on last year. They seriously weren't going to consider competing in the Eurovision Song Contest. Like, there's no space to put that programming on your broadcast. Like, it's all news at this point. How are you going to send in a Eurovision performance if you can't even show Eurovision in your own country? Oh, they did. They did. enter the contest, did they? Okay, I will admit when I'm wrong. Like, you proved me wrong. And, wait. You may remember during the interval act, or, you know, break, when people were still voting and people were still counting the votes, that Petra, or whoever, went up to the Luxembourg representative and asked her, how you doing, and that sort of stuff. And she said she was 23, and Petra said, oh, so you never saw Luxembourg perform because you weren't even alive for that. Now I'll do you one better. I just turned 30. The very first contest that I was alive for, I was only 4 weeks old, and that was the very first year in which Luxembourg wasn't in the contest. Well, they could have not been in the contest before, but yeah, they were relegated in 1993. But everyone thought, it's alright, they'll come back for 1995. That's how the system works. It's not like they're going to leave us for a indiscernible amount of time and let Queen Elizabeth II die before knowing true happiness, right? 1995 came and went, no Luxembourg. 1996 came and went. Luxembourg didn't show up to the pre-qual. Then came 97, 98, 99, 2000, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2021, 2022, and 2023. And still no sign of Luxembourg until the very grand final. I don't know how I'm still alive at this point. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm lying on a dirty, cold floor somewhere. Maybe someone lynched me. Maybe I'm living in a simulation. At this point, anything's possible. Or maybe Luxembourg came back because they were ticked off at France for sending in no French in 2022. You know what? I'm making that my headcanon. That is a hilarious headcanon. But yeah, now we finally move on to the song Fighter by Tali. And admittedly, it's not a bad song for your first song in 30 years. I'll give you credit. It's not terrible. But did you have to use English? I mean, the song is mostly French, but it is kind of sad to see that even you too, Luxembourg, have compromised. But that being said, it's a fine song. Nothing particularly special. It's kind of sad that this was used to close out the show. I know why they did it, but no one ever gave this kind of reception for Monaco or Czech Republic or anything like that. They had to fight things out the old-fashioned way. Or Italy, even! Where the heck was that? Where was the announcement by the Norwegians in 2010 that Italy was considering coming back to the contest? Where is that? And it's not like it would have come out of nowhere. There was that increased support by Eurovision fans in Italy to see Italy come back to the contest in the late 2000s. It was possible. But yeah, Luxembourg's song, good but not great. I'd be kind of surprised if they qualified for the grand final, considering what this song is. But then again, it would make sense, you know, the novelty. But the novelty will wear off and they will probably blunder unless they have a really good strategy to use the francophone world to their advantage. Because, hey, it worked for San Marino. Well, not the francophone part, but relying on people from all the way out to Zimbabwe to represent them. But, if not, I give them 3 years before they quit, and for good this time. And now we end up... No, I'm not falling for it. You can't have been giving me 15 songs in the semifinal. Where's Hungary? Give me Hungary! Except, no. Hungary, again, did not participate in Eurovision. You may know why. But the song that was selected was honestly pretty good. It's called Lasagna, or something like that. Lasagna? Whatever. By Laszlo Evelyn. And I like this thing. Powerful, hopeful, at the same time. I don't know what the message is, but honestly, I felt pretty good, pretty comfortable. It would have probably done pretty well in this semifinal. Maybe if it were lucky, getting a top 5 finish in this semifinal. But it would have to fight for it. But yeah, we miss you, Hungary. We know you have quite the talent in music, and we hope one day you'll accept this as part of your family. Okay, what else do we have? As people are voting, they didn't get rid of the 100% televoting rule. I am disappointed. I'm still very highly disappointed. Why? That was the one thing that I would have liked you to change. Take us back to the 50-50 rule. I've already stated my reasons for why I think that would be better, but let's get back into the interval acts. We have Johnny Logan? Remember the last time that the legend himself was shown was in the Eurovision Museum in 2014? He was held hostage by the Danes? Yeah, luckily since we're in Malmö, it's all just a matter of Sweden rushing in across the Öresund Bridge, breaking him out of there, and getting him to Malmö. Just do a little favor and then we'll let you be on your way. Anyway, he covered Euphoria by Lorraine because, of course, that's the conditions of the contract. There's no winning with this guy! Also, we had Benjamin Ingrosso with the wonderful line of anyone else would see 7th place for their country as doing pretty great, but we see it as a disaster. Well, it could have been worse. It could have been your 2021 entry. But yeah, I told you to pick Felix Sandman and you didn't listen to me. You deserve that 7th place. Okay, what else are there? Oh yeah, I made a note to talk about all the special Petra Mede moments we had on the show. I told you about the whole doing it with different people thing that she said. There was also this part with the Eurovision app where she picked it up and she got messages. I'm sure those were added in post, but goodness sake, that was hilarious all the same. She also said that she claimed to have listened to all the songs ahead of the contest. And then she asked if I had name a country and a year. Slovakia 1998. Petra was getting some hard balls. And then Petra said, do another. Ireland 2009. And yeah, Slovakia 98 was a little too hard for me. I have listened to that song, but I don't remember it. Ireland 2009, etc., etc. And you know, I could go that entire route, but first, people don't want me to sing, and second, YouTube doesn't want me to sing, which is arguably more important. And then went with an act from 1983, and then Petra was like, isn't that Papa Penguin? And then I'm thinking, wait, wasn't Papa Penguin 1980? And then she said, wouldn't it have killed you to pick Sweden 1974 before walking off? Of course you would, Petra. Yeah, you asked for this. My goodness sake, Petra can get petty. And then she did some interviewing with the Irish entry and said if Ireland wins, that could be a win for both Ireland and Sweden because one of their parents is from Sweden, the other is from Ireland. Yeah, sure. Keep telling yourself that. But really, seriously, I would love to talk about Sweden's song and how I think this Sweden versus Ireland matchup would probably be one for the ages. That is, provided Ireland does qualify. If not, I'm going to be high and dry. Okay. Now, here is my personal ranking, and man, after listening to some songs in the contest through the album and then listening to them in the contest proper, I have a few thoughts. You can see Iceland is right down there because, like, that is quite generic, with Poland not that far behind, and up there you have quite a few bangers, I will admit. This first semifinal is honestly pretty solid. Like, compared to 2023, it's not bad. And from what I've listened off the album, I think the second semifinal, I don't know if it's going to be a group of death, but it's honestly is still going to be high class. But finally, we're going to skip into the second part of this video where I watch the selection process for the grand final from semifinal 1. And oh boy, is it going to be a doozy. But there's a problem. I don't think I'm quite ready to see the qualifier results. Yeah, I kinda have to. I'm putting this results of the semifinals off until part 3. Yeah, I mean, as much as I do have to know eventually, I really don't want to right now. And besides, the video is pretty long enough. I can use that as the excuse for terminating this entire venture right here. Yeah. Well, go on with part 2. Talk about the acts in semifinal 2 next week, because it is tradition at this point. And at part 3, we will finally take a look at who qualified. And then maybe we'll do a part 3.1 where we talk about the grand final results proper. I'll figure something out. I mean, if Windows 95 man is competing in the contest, may as well give it the Windows numbering scheme. But yeah, that'll do it, I guess. Do the feedback thing, like, comment, subscribe, or dislike, because I decided to not use the NT kernel. I'll see you next time. Hasta la sintonía.